log day, 10th of June 2020. I think I'm watching too much of a Star Trek Voyager, just saying. Okay, today I finished a hat, so maybe I will put some footage because I think I have kind of footage in progress.
Now I'm doing it, but you don't have to do it. Check this out. This is how it ends up in the middle of the process of doing Kitchener stitch over here with a long thread, ending up with a tapestry needle, and yeah, halfway done. Another half to go.
Before we even start watching, this is definitely a hat for an advanced knitter, or at least knitter who wants to experience things a little bit more. Right, first things first, on this channel, on the screen, I open a box from KnitCrate, and this was an April box, and I think it's a sock crate. And I think it was a sock crate. So check it out if you're interested to see how it looked in the skein, because I'm showing you that, and straight away I'm telling you that this is a perfect colorway for Seb, that he will definitely like this. I knew this is his color. So straight away I thought I'm going to knit a hat, but it's quite a challenging thing to knit a fitted hat for someone else's head. If you've knitted hat before, you may know that if you go a little bit oversized, you'll be fine with that, you know. But if you want to have it fitted, you want to have it the way someone wants to have it, sometimes it's a challenging task to do, and that's what I'm kind of experiencing when I was knitting other hats for Seb. So therefore, what I did, I tried to change my thinking about it. So first things first, I grab a hat that I knitted him a while ago. Maybe on the screen I may have a thumbnail, or maybe a year when I knitted this. I remember that the yarn was gifted by Amber from Yarn Hoarder podcast, and I think it was, anyway, on the screen, because I completely forgot. And the same thing, that kind of his colors, a little bit light, he likes a little bit darker, and I knew it's going to work. So this is a perfect fit for him, and obviously this yarn, as you can see, is worsted, kind of thicker. You see those V's, and this is a fingering weight yarn. So I've decided to hold it double and start to knit it from the top down. I wrote down everything. That's what you do if you're trying to knit for someone, and put it into notes somewhere that you can refer to it later on if you want to do something similar. And yeah, if it worked, then you have. If something will need to be adjusted, then you will know for a next, you know, project what to do to make it better. So if someone was watching over here and you're not a knitter but you were gifted a gift, remember to be honest with a knitter in regards like arms or anything like that, because if they do have notes, then they could make an adjustment for a future object or thing you're knitting. And second of all, if you received something that does not fit you right, you can always ask, can that be adjusted? Because I can bet you it can. It's either person will not have time to do it, that's the only thing. So yeah, hopefully maybe on this channel I may do a one adjustment to the garment I've received that it's perfect, nothing to complain about, but for the task at home I do, I sometimes would want to have a sleeve a little bit tighter, or I would say ribbing a little bit tighter. So just to adjust that, let me know, would you be interested to see that adjustment? Maybe that will motivate me to do it. At the moment I'm just struggling with that, but it's not a big struggle that I can't maintain from my personal, I don't know, experience, but definitely it would kind of make things better makes my life easier if I could do that. And at the same time, maybe I can show you something or how to do it. Let me know. Back to the hat. So yeah, I had this as my example. So it doesn't have to be a knitted hat. Actually, I think I knitted this one doing the same system, just placing a hat flat on a surface, and while I was knitting a hat that time from bottom up, I was able to put it and see what I'm at and where I have to start the creases. Obviously there is a story with the creases. Some you can have it longer, shorter, and so on. And the same story, it will not create a top, smooth top. It could be pointy top, it could be, you know, kind of gathered quickly, and so on. So I wanted to have the top that I can control from the moment I started with and see how it progresses, how it gathers. Is it doesn't, oh, how you call it, creates those wrinkles, if you want those wrinkles, if you don't want those wrinkles, and you want to have kind of I call it a shelf situation. So when we're decreasing or increasing the way that everything kind of twists on one side, you may not be a fan of that. And I'll try to make with this hat something that does not show you evident increase from perspective of a patterning of the stitches, if that makes sense, although it created circles. So as you can see on the screen, I got a little bit top because I wanted to make it a little bit fun, because Seb has that hidden character inside, or humor, let's say. And then some circles, so it increases a long way. I even have a purl bumps over here, purl stitches over here. You may not see it, but that kind of just for me to see where I created those increases and maybe create a bit of a pattern that it's, you know, that's not really so visible. And so as you can see, it kind of spreads nicely. It's look like a boob a bit. So yeah, and then I wanted to know for how long I have to knit. So that way I was able just to put it on the top of this hat and decide where to start my ribbing, right? And as you can see, it's not as long as this one because what I did. Maybe just a quick information what I used. So I used US size 4 all the way through. I started on DPNs and then I went to circulars. And as you can see, I have other set of needles over here. These are sock needles, basically with size 1, but it doesn't matter. It's more, I was more interested about the cord that I could put the stitches on, because what I was doing, I was knitting with this yarn, and probably I should tell you what that is, so maybe a break from my explaining. This is Vidalena Heathered Sock, and it's a honeybee color. And as you can see, the whole, maybe closer, as you can see all information about it, you know what I was knitting with. So we have merino, Peruvian highline wool, and nylon. And merino and Peruvian highline, they are both breeds of wool of the sheep. No, that's not grammatically correct. I'm talking about the fibre from the 2 breeds of sheep, and one is merino, one is Peruvian highline wool. One is softer than the other, so other one is more rustic, maybe not completely very rustic, but a bit of here and there, let's say it that way. Not the best description, but when you combine those two together, you will have at least a medium feeling of the yarn. And obviously we have nylon because it was specific yarn for, let's say, socks. But I was so intrigued with the color that I knew it's going to knit up beautifully. And as you can see, I have still some leftovers. I haven't weighed this hat, so maybe on the screen I will. Although, as you can notice, I have a second color over here. But before we go to that color, let me continue talking how I was knitting on it. So basically at this point, when I had enough stitches to put on the circular needles, I was knitting, and like I said, it was just knitting in the round until I got to that point, and then I decided to do one by one rib, and I was knitting it until I thought that it will be quite close, not too close, to my original hat. Then I moved stitches from one needle to another. So like I said, to these, to put them on hold. And Oh, I forgot about the main thing. So when I started ribbing, when I did that first round of knit and purls, I went on the wrong side and I used, I would guess maybe 10 markers, and I marked the purl bumps on the cord. So basically randomly, because I knew I would be picking up stitches later on, and then to make sure that I'm picking the same purl bumps from the wrong side, that I'm not shifting my round. So basically I wanted to keep the same round, not that I accidentally move from one round to another. So yeah, so when I had my stitches on hold, I went with my circular needles and a new yarn. And this yarn is over here, and it was a nightmare to knit, so it took me a little bit of a while because of this. I should probably go and rewind it, but I thought I'll manage. Well, I did manage, but to be honest, it wasn't the best decision I made to knit through it, so never do that. Anyway, I have to fix it one day. But this yarn, I got it from KnitCrate too. That's the thing. So basically this yarn I was holding because I think maybe 2017 or maybe 2018 I got it. I know there is, I think, a silk in it. On its own it would be very drapey, but I really like this color. I knew that would be perfect for Seb to knit a hat. I think I tempted even to knit a hat with it, but like I said, it's a very drapey hat. So when I kind of did the rubbing, I knew it's not going to work. But in this case, to soften a little bit the sensation on the forehead, because it's inside, it will hopefully, even though it's a ribbing, so you know, kind of sharp edges, will kind of smooth these things. I did not want to do a stockinette stitch because it will give you a slight different gauge from the top rib to the bottom rib, and I know sometimes it bulks underneath it and you will have that visible, so I did not want to tempt it. So when I picked up the stitches and start doing one by one rib with my kind of twisted purl stitch, you need to think how to start. So basically when my ribbing from my first one started from the knit one purl one, my second one started from purl one knit one, because that's how it would look, I think, because I wanted to match it. But it's long story short, it doesn't really do much in regards, like, you know, when you flip this thing, because at the end of the day then I will be doing, and I did Kitchener stitch, so basically tapestry needle, very long. I think I did 5 circumference of the hat just to be sure that I have enough, and I had a big leftover to do Kitchener stitch. But the Kitchener stitch, what happens is that it provides a stockinette stitch pattern, not a ribbing. So the ribbing does not go to the ribbing itself, and at that point I did not want to think what to do the, like with the tubular bind off, but I only know one that you don't have to separate the stitches on both needles. I know there is one that you can do that too. Probably would work over here, but I thought it would be really good breakthrough, you know, on the edge of the hat. And I did, well, it doesn't matter how many rounds I did for the rib because it will be individual situation for each person, but my main color was 1 round more than the contrast color, just to tell you, because I knew that even though I'm doing that way and I'd be doing Kitchener stitch, it will pop a little bit too. If you want that pop to be a little bit bigger, I would suggest to maybe do longer, but be aware that then you will have more of the stockinette stitch around. I'm not sure if you're interested for the pattern. I'm not sure should I be writing this pattern because this is quite advanced. There's loads of, as I said, picking up stitches, putting stitches on hold, having an extra set of needles, and then Kitchener stitch at the end of the day. I know not everyone is a fan of it. I don't think, probably it's not so difficult, it's more time consuming. So I'm at the moment holding it. Probably I will make my own kind of written information how I did that somewhere, just in case I would want to maybe in the future create a pattern and but like I said, it was just take needles and go with the flow, and it turned out beautifully. And I could not wait to show you, and this hat even doesn't have a tag, which says a lot. And as I said, as by the length of this video you can see that there was a lot to say, and you know, double that amount to make it. Okay, so thank you so much for KnitCrate for sending boxes, and they probably would not send boxes if you wouldn't purchase the boxes from them and have a experience how to knit with them. So thank you so much for KnitCrate for sending the yarn my way. They probably do that because you're watching my videos, and some of you are purchasing that and they know you're coming in from me because of the affiliate link. And so thank you both so much. I have so much fun knitting with the yarn. As you can see, I may keep some yarn on the side because I know they have a purpose, or I can join them with others, as you can see in this case. Now, thank you so much for watching 2 movies on the screen over here. Check it out, have fun, and till the next one, bye. Let me know what is your experience with knitting hats for someone else than yourself.